Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A pleasant day to all of you. My name is Riza Zipaya, together with my co-presenter, Norfina Piling. Our topic is the Imams and Taqlid, a significant part of Islamic scholarship and legal tradition. It is an understanding the role of the great Imams and the concept of Taqlid. Help us appreciate what Islamic law perceive and practice. This chapter outlines the historical role of Islamic scholars in interpreting the Quran and Sunnah, the formation of different madhabs, and the later problematic race of Tadlid. It emphasizes the early scholars' dedication to truth and the original flexibility of Islamic law, while warning against the later rigidity and sectarianism that emerged. So itong kabanata ay nagpapaliwanag kung paano gumanap ng mahalagang papel ang Islamic scholars o tinatawag imams sa pag-unlad ng fiqh o sinasabing Islamic law at pagbuo ng mga madhab o mga paaralan ng pang-iisip sa Islam. Pinapakita rin dito kung paano lumitaw ang problema ng taglid o bulag na pagsunod at kung paano tumayo ang mga unang imam laban dito. First, role of fiqh and madhabs. Fiqh, Islamic jurisprudence, and madhabs are not replacement for the Quran and Sunnah, but tools developed by scholars to help apply divine guidance to new situations. Scholars use reason and evidence to develop laws that suited the needs of people in different times and places. So dito, ang fiqh at madhab ay hindi kapalit ng Quran at Sunnah. Ginagamit ito ng mga scholars bilang paraan para i-apply ang guidance ng Diyos sa mga bagong situations o yung gumagamit sila ng reasoning at ebidensya para bumuo ng mga batas ayon sa panahon at lugar. Diversity of opinion. Since early scholars lived in different regions with varying access to sources and faced unique challenges, differences in opinion naturally arose. This diversity was a strength, not a weakness, as long as scholars remain sincere in their search for the truth. So dahil dito, magkakaiba ang lugar galing ang mga scholars at iba-iba ang mga access nila sa sources. Natural lang na may pagkakaiba rin lang ng opinion, pero okay lang ito basta't ang goal nila ay ang katotohanan. Rise of sectarianism and blind following, taglid. Over time, sectarianism and fanatic loyalty to specific madhabs developed. Scholars begin to forbid ijtihad, independent reasoning, and enforce taglid, leading to rigidity in Islamic practice. Some Muslims even prioritize their madhab's rulings over authentic hadiths, which goes against the teachings of the Prophet, peace upon with him. So dito, paglipas ng panahon, naging masyadong loyal ang mga tao sa sarili nilang madhab at naging sarado na sa ibang opinyon. Bawal na ang ijtihad o sinasabing independent thinking at napalitan ang mga tao na sumunod lang kahit hindi tama. So dito, mas pininili na ng iba ang opinyon ng imam nila kaysa sa totoong sinasabi ng prophet, peace upon with him, na mali at delikado. The imam's true position. The founders of the four major madhabs, Abu Hanifa, Malik, Shafi'i, and Ahmad ibn Hanbal, never intended for their followers to blindly imitate them. They openly stated that if a hadith contradicted their opinion, the hadith should be followed instead. But blindly preferring an imam's opinion over the Prophet's teachings was seen by some scholars as a form of shirk in following, meaning wrongly sharing the authority that belongs to the Prophet alone. So sina Abu Hanifa, Malik, Shafi'i at Ahmad ibn Hanbal ay tuto sa bulag na pagsunod. So sabi nila, kung may authentic hadith na taliwas sa opinion nila, unahin ang hadith. Ang Ang blind loyalty sa imam ay parang shirk, paghahati ng authority ng propeta sa iba kasi si Prophet Muhammad, peace upon with him, lang ang dapat sinusunod ng walang tanong. And the last, modern implications. Many Muslims today are unaware of this contradiction and continue to practice rigid taglid, not realizing it opposes the very guidance of their imams. Some reformers call for either unity among madhabs or complete rejection of madhabs. The book argues that reform is needed but completely abandoning madhabs is extreme and potentially harmful. So dito marami sa ating ngayon ang hindi na alam ang blind taglid ay kontra sa tinuturo o itinuro ng mga imam. May mga reformers na gustong pag-isahin ang mga madhab o tuluyang alisin ang paggamit ng mga ito. So sabi ng may akda, ang unity ay maganda pero ang total rejection ay sobra naman. Okay, let's move on. The next one I discuss about the Imam Abu Hanifa, Nu'man ibn Thabit. Imam Abu Hanifa, a prominent Islamic jurist and founder of the Hanafi school of thought, discouraged his student from writing down of all his opinions. This was because many of his rulings were based on qiyas, which could change upon further reflection or debate. He only allowed the documentation of rulings that were truly discussed and agreed upon by his students. So, si Imam Abu Hanifa ay isang kilalang scholar sa larangan ng fiqh at siya rin ang nagtatag ng Hanafi madhab. Hindi niya hinakayat ang kanyang mga estudyante na isulat lahat ng kanyang mga opinion dahil madalas ay nakabatay ang mga ito sa qiyas o tinatawag na analogical reasoning, isang paraan ng paghahanap ng solusyon gamit ang lohika na maaring magbago sa paglipas ng panahon. Pinayagan lamang niyang maisulat ang mga opinyong na ipaliwanag na ng mabuti at pinagtibay ng lahat ng kanyang mga estudyante. Abu Yusuf, one of his students, narrated that the Imam once warned him not to write down everything he said because he might change his opinion later. This approach helped prevent blind following or taglid and encourage his student to think critically and understand the proof behind rulings. So, ayon sa kanyang estudyante si Abu Yusuf, sinabi ni Imam Abu Hanifa, huwag mong isulat ang lahat na narinig mo sa akin sapagkat maaari kong panindigan ang isang opinyon ngayon at talikuran ito bukas. Ipinapakita nito na nais niyang turuan ang kanyang mga tagasunod na huwag maging bulag sa pagsunod kundi matutong mag-isip at umitindi ng mga pinangangalingan ng batas. Ang ganitong mindset ang nagturo sa mga estudyante niya na huwag maging sunod-sunuran. Sa halip, dapat nilang maintindihan ang mga basihan ng mga ruling, kung ano ang sources sa Quran at Hadith, at paano ito pinaghirapang pag-usapan. Ayaw ni Imam Abu Hanifa ng blind following, at ang pinakamahalaga sinabi niya na kung ang opinion niya ay taliwas sa Quran o authentic Hadith, dapat itong i-reject. Ang tunay na dapat sundin ang mga sahih, hadith at Quran. Iyon ang tunay na basihan ng tama at mali sa Islam. Furthermore, Abu Hanifa emphasized that one should follow his opinions blindly unless they understood the evidences and reasoning he and his students use. He acknowledged that humans are fallible and rulings can change and new insights arise. The Imam also strongly stressed that the ultimate reference for any Islamic rulings must be the Quran and authentic Hadith. If any of his rulings contradicted the Quran or Hadith, he instructed people to reject his view. As reported by his student Muhammad ibn al-Hasan and scholars like Imam ibn Abdul Bar, Abu Hanifa declared that a sound Hadith takes precedence over his personal opinion, stating, if Hadith is Sahih, it is my madhab. Kahit anong ruling ni Imam Abu Hanifa ay salungat sa Quran o hadis, malinaw ang tagubilin niya na huwag sundin ang opinyon niya. Ayon sa ulat ng kanyang estudyanteng si Muhammad ibn al-Hasan at iba pang mga scholar tulad ni Imam ibn Abdul Bar, sinabi mismo ni Abu Hanifa na ang isang sahih hadis, tunay at mapagkakatiwalaang hadis, ay mas dapat unahin kaysa sariling opinyon niya. Ang sabi niya, kung ang isang hadis ay sahih, iyon ang aking madhab. So, ibig sabihin kahit pa siya ang mismo ang nagsabi ng isang ruling, kung may mas malinaw at mas matibay na hadis, yun ang dapat sundin, hindi ang personal niyang pananaw. And that's it. That's all. Shukran.